Englishman, born and bred in England by Christian parents, a normal English family. We would go to church on Sundays. We went to the local schools. I wanted to be a dentist when I was growing up, but I ended up training as a nurse. I've had a really ordinary life. I got married when I was 24, had 2 children, Gracie and Tom, and was relatively happy for some time, and then my marriage broke up, and I think I was looking for something. From a religious point of view, I've always been aware of God. I guess I've had an on and off relationship. Looking back, it's very easy to look back and see opportunities that have been put in front of me, that God has put in front of me. And sometimes, that door has opened and I've willingly walked through, and other times, looking back, I think God's pushed me through doors to make me go down a certain path. 16 or 17 years ago, very miserable time of my life, very, very messy divorce, very acrimonious divorce, very unhappy in my job. I'd moved on from nursing. I was doing a different job by then. I don't recall going to church or having any relationship with God at that time. And then I met somebody at work, had a new employee start, and I told her off. She was listening to headphones at work, which really wasn't allowed. And I told her off, said she couldn't do it. And then I asked her what she was listening to, expecting her to tell me about some pop music. And she said, I'm listening to prayers. And that touched me. It triggered something in me, and I wanted to know more. I didn't know she was a Muslim. She wasn't wearing hijab. And we talked a bit. And she said if I wanted to know more, she could put me in touch with somebody who could talk to me more about Islam. And again, I knew nothing about Islam. As somebody who was brought up in the West, white, English, Protestant, Islam was unheard of. And Muslims are terrorists. That's all you know. I met with this alim. He explained Islam, he explained some principles. He gave me some books to read. He introduced me to the Prophet, to Al-Bayt. He introduced me to Qadiyah. And that's when I think Islam had already clicked with me. It had something that Christianity didn't have. I had no intentions of becoming a Muslim. I just wanted to find out more. But there was just something in Islam that felt right. It's different from Christianity. They don't have many answers to everything, or they have one answer to everything, which is you have to have faith. And for me, as somebody who likes evidence-based I'm an evidence-based thinker. I need more than that. I need proof of things. Islam has that proof. I was quite fortunate in the centre that I went to, the Hadri Centre in London. The resident alim there was Sayyid Amar Naqshwani. So he's an English reciter, and he actually took my shahada. I think it was about 2 years, I think, before I said my shahada. But listening to his lectures and other English lectures, that's where I've got most of my knowledge from. Interestingly, I'm still Philip in some instances, and I'm Amar in others. A lot of people think I call myself Amar after Amar Naqshwani because he was our alim, obviously famous. He took my shahada, but it's actually after Ammar bin Yasser. He was a faithful companion, and whilst I do not want to compare myself to him, I'd like to think that I'm a faithful companion. I think Islam has given me a purpose. It's brought me out of that darkness. I'm part of a vibrant community now. The best thing that happened to me was I got made redundant from my job, which was hard, but I had a new job and I was able to have a new start. And the first day I started, I was able to declare, I'm Muslim, I don't drink, I won't be coming to the pub with you, and they respected that, and so that, in some ways, that's been really good. My conversion was very academic. There was no like flash of lightning. There was no Quranic, inspiration. Obviously, I read some Quran in English, but it was more the fact that the message of Islam was right for me. And so when I read about Qadiyah and the Prophet saying about Ali being his successor, and I am going to leave you soon, and I leave you with two things, the Quran and my Ahlul Bayt. It's like, well, this is the right path.
And cloth of martyrdom on their own child's head. They fear the strongest of men that can weep when they hear how a father wept, for they know in every weakness heart of yours, his land is salvation, yes, but his blood.
My first experience was Muharram. You go into the mosque at Muharram, and there are black drapes everywhere, and everyone's wearing black, and they're doing this strange beating their chests, and that's completely alien. I understand from an intellectual point of view what it's all about, but the emotional connection's not there. And I don't think that emotional connection happened until I first came to Karbala. I came for Ziyarah in 2017 with a group. And that's when I first found my Imam Hussein. I was able to go right up to his tomb, right up to the shrine, and put my hands on the cold metal and just talk to him. And that really affirmed my faith, and that I was on the right path. And again, I feel like a child sometimes in this faith because I know nothing. But that was the real start of my journey. 2 years later, 2019, my wife and I and my new son, Zain Ali, we came for Arba'een. And I'm not even sure I can put it into words. You start walking from Najaf, and as you get closer and closer, the more and more people, and you know, I said before I felt quite alone. It's quite hard being back in the UK. I'm quite isolated as a Muslim, as a Shia. But on Arba'een, you become part of it, and as you get closer to Karbala, you become more part of it, and it's like a heartbeat, and it's beating, and it beats faster and harder, and it's beating for Hussein, and you become part of that heartbeat, and I can't explain what that's like. But that's how I feel, and it's made me want to come back every year. If Imam Hussein is our role model, his father, Imam Ali, is the ultimate role model. And again, whether I have the audacity to say that I try and follow in his footsteps or not, is I try, but I suspect I fail. You know, I want to be able to stand up for the things that he believed in my own, you know, with my own ability. I just ask him. He has Allah's ears, and I know I can talk to Allah, but they are so more influential. It's like if you go to court and you're the defendant, you can speak to the judge, but your lawyers can speak far more eloquently on your behalf as your advocate. Imam Hussein is my advocate, so I just ask him for forgiveness from Allah for everything that I've done in my life that I'm not proud of, and I ask him for that drop of Hussein's essence, that I can be a better person, a better Muslim, a better servant of Allah. Imam Hussein and his brother Abbas, alayhi salam, they're connected. You know, they're connected. They're like this. You know, you can't separate them. They weren't separated in life. They weren't separated in death. So my relationship with them, inshallah, is the same.
نبكي الحسين سلوا السيوف والرماح على حسين.
Why do I cry? I don't know. It just pours out. Back home in the UK, I very rarely cry. I step foot in Karbala and I start to cry. And as much as my heart longs to come back to Karbala every year, I'm desperate to go back to Sayyidah Zainab. I've been there several times now, but again, I don't know what it is about her, but I mean, her ability to stand up to what she had to stand up to after Karbala is an inspiration for everybody. We all need to learn from that. There's a hadith, I think, about Imam Ali, actually, where he's walking with Salman, I think it is, and they invite a third person, and they're walking through the sand, and when they look back, there are only 2 sets of footsteps, and Imam Ali explains it's because Salman steps in his footsteps, and that's what I would want to be for Imam Hussein. I would want to be able to step in his footsteps. I don't know that I'm worthy enough for that. Like I say, I'm a very ordinary, unspecial person. Before, I had no purpose. You live to exist, you know. You go to work to earn money, to have a good time, and everything's about the world, about possessions, about wealth, about fancy holidays. Now, those things don't matter. They're not important, you know. Possessions, money, they're here today, gone tomorrow. And you realise that this world is transient. It's not the end. You know, it's the means to an end. It's not the end in itself. You know, our journey is to Jannah. And everything we do here is about doing our utmost to please Allah, to please Al-Bayt, to get to Jannah. Nothing else matters. I think that's one of the purposes of Arba'een, is that in walking we are making an effort. You know, Hussein stood up for justice and honour and dignity in what was his world then. Imam Mehdi's coming back to do the same. So there's a direct connection there. Arba'een, walking from Najaf to Karbala and congregating in Karbala is showing Imam Mehdi that we're not just waiting, we're not just sitting back waiting for you to turn up. We're coming here to say, come back. We're ready.